Britain is methodically and regularly adding fuel to the fire and methodically and regularly plotting schemes to prevent even the slightest progress in the peaceful settlement process. This is precisely what the United Kingdom is doing.
And despite Russia's outrageous threats to my country, we will continue our support for Ukraine's defence. I know you need more help to protect your skies and your civilians. I know how hard the winters have been and the need to be ready this year when the nights draw in.
UK's Ukraine bet triggers Vladimir Putin's fury as Britain deepens its military backing for Kyiv. Andy Burnham ruffles Russia's feathers with his first Ukraine visit, sending a fresh signal of Britain's support. Will Burnham give UK blueprints to make long-range missiles for Ukraine, taking Britain's defense support a step further? Britain's missile push for Kyiv could backfire, as Moscow issues a stark warning over the consequences of deeper involvement. Will Moscow's threat of consequences alter the UK's support for Ukraine, or will Britain double down despite Russia's warning? Russia and Britain tensions continue to rise as UK PM Andy Burnham visits Ukraine, signaling stronger British backing for Kyiv. Russia has issued a fresh warning to Britain over its expanding military support for Ukraine, raising fears of a sharper confrontation. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said Britain's growing role is further escalating the war, rather than helping create conditions for peace. Moscow claimed the UK's support could make any potential peace settlement with Ukraine even more difficult to achieve. Peskov also hit out at Britain for reportedly sharing classified missile technology with Ukraine, escalating Moscow's objections. The Kremlin said sharing SCALP missile data would add fuel to the fire, warning that Britain was deepening its involvement. Britain is also helping Ukraine build up its own long-range missile production, potentially reducing Kyiv's reliance on foreign supplies. Peskov warned Russia could target facilities involved in Ukraine's missile program, raising the stakes over Britain's support.
Ukraine is attempting to strike at commercial trade infrastructure, thereby pursuing a wide variety of objectives. The Kyiv regime is failing in this endeavor. Crucially, this prevents the Kyiv regime from having any influence whatsoever on the dynamics that everyone is observing on the front lines. As for the strikes, they once again highlight the true nature of the Kyiv regime. And here, of course, it is essential to recall the president's words, that they themselves opened Pandora's box, and now they must face the consequences. The people in Kyiv are feeling the consequences every day, every night, and will continue to do so. In regards to support measures, as you have seen, the government is certainly monitoring this situation very closely. The government is considering and developing, together with representatives of the business community, various options for providing support in such a challenging situation. Extremely negative. Britain is involved in this war. It is involved in this war on the side of the Kyiv regime. Britain is methodically and regularly adding fuel to the fire and methodically and regularly plotting schemes to prevent even the slightest progress in the peaceful settlement process. This is precisely what the United Kingdom is doing. Our armed forces are carrying out the necessary work, gathering the relevant intelligence to identify the production sites of such missiles and other military equipment, and taking measures to destroy these sites.
UK PM Andy Burnham is visiting war-battered Kyiv and has held talks with a coalition of the willing on continued support for Ukraine. Andy Burnham rejected Moscow's threats and vowed that Britain would continue backing Ukraine's defense despite Russia's warnings. Britain is also expected to announce additional support for Ukraine's long-range missile capabilities, strengthening Kyiv's strike potential. London claimed its plan could reduce Kyiv's dependence on foreign missile supplies, giving Ukraine greater control over its own arsenal.
What I see before me today is an unbroken country. I hope, as Prime Minister, that this will not be my last visit here. It is my first overseas visit, and I chose to do this, and I hope it tells you something about the importance that I attach to your cause. I will honour every commitment my country has made to Ukraine in full. We will continue to build the 100-year partnership between our two countries, bringing together our cities and our schools, our businesses and our communities, learning from each other and growing together for decades to come. And despite Russia's outrageous threats to my country, we will continue our support for Ukraine's defence. I know you need more help to protect your skies and your civilians. I know how hard the winters have been and the need to be ready this year when the nights draw in. That's why later today I will take up the reins of the coalition of the willing alongside President Macron and Chancellor Merz. I am determined that we will work together to deliver the support you need, Mr. President, stronger than ever. That means not just air defence, but stopping Russia launching their missiles in the first place, with sanctions that cut off their military supply chains, with support to destroy missiles before they are launched against Ukrainian cities, and with help for Ukraine to develop new technologies and deepen our industrial cooperation. This is the moment to keep up the pressure on Russia. The moment to squeeze their ability to fund this illegal war. This is how we will speed up their realisation of something we all know already, that Russia cannot win this war. That the cry for sovereignty and independence 35 years ago is stronger today than ever, and it will never be silenced. You are asking for nothing more than the chance to live your lives in peace, to build a better future for yourselves and for your children, to hold your own future in your own hands. This is your right. This is what you deserve, and we will be with you all the way until that day comes. Thank you. Slava Ukraini!
Russia has accused the UK of escalating the Ukraine war after British-made drones were reportedly used in attacks inside Russian territory. The Russian embassy in London said Britain was increasingly becoming an accomplice in attacks on Russian territory, pointing to its growing military support for Kyiv. Moscow warned that Britain would face consequences, saying the price for London would continue to rise as UK involvement in the conflict deepens. Statement by Russian embassy to the UK read, and I quote, "In doing so, the United Kingdom is acting as an accomplice and co-perpetrator of the bloody crimes and terrorist attacks. London's actions will inevitably carry consequences for which it will have to answer. The deeper its involvement in the conflict, the higher the price it will pay." Unquote. London rejected the Russian warning and said Britain would continue standing shoulder to shoulder with Ukraine despite Moscow's threats. The British Defence Ministry said it remains committed to providing Ukraine with military equipment, including systems designed to strengthen Kyiv's ability to strike Russian targets. Britain has already announced plans to supply tens of thousands of drones to Ukraine, including long-range systems capable of reaching targets deep behind Russian lines.
Upgrade your news experience with the all-new HT app. Download now.